Alrighty, hello every folks, and good morning. Welcome to a sort of first impressions here, a very earlier than usual first impressions here for Glorious Companions, a game that I'm surprised doesn't have its name in the title screen. Anyway, so general idea here is that it's basically a Battle Brothers like with a couple of different world building bits put in there and more of a 3D world type situation. Also, there's these giant stone robot mechs in the background doing something, but I don't quite know yet. Apparently they're supposed to be plot relevant. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing. Now, this is a game, admittedly, I am going into the first impressions a little bit earlier than I usually would, seeing as not only has this, the last few weeks have been absolute chaos, but additionally, I keep getting emails from Keymailer as far as where is this video that was promised. So, let's go ahead and make that video, shall we? Alright, so first and foremost, thank you to I guess technically to the developer and also kind of Keymailer for sending out a code for this whole thing in order to go try it out. Now, this is one of these ones that on paper, when I first read the description, sounded like something I'd be super into. It's essentially a more kind of SRPG focused, like more tile based type of version of something like Battle Brothers. Okay, already completely on board with that because I like Battle Brothers, I like tile based systems. And in general, I have a pretty high tolerance for kind of jank and indie games, so sure, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. And it's interesting enough. You're kind of exploring around, you're finding little nodes to interact with, and then you find stuff, and, you just kind of explore around, do this whole exploring thing. So this is one that came out of early access recently. It's one that, from what I understand, originally had bigger aspirations, and then, I guess, had some sort of issues, and then ended up rallying back, and something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure what all ended up happening there. But apparently they've been trying to make a bit of a comeback. And systems-wise, it seems like stuff was relatively thought through here. Everything seems to have a decent bit of detail to it. Pieces seem to have upsides and downsides all over the place. And in general, it seems like there was a lot of systems intended to be done here. So as of right now, it's again very kind of sort of, I guess you could say, more the the immediate description that comes to mind is a more MMO-esque flavored Battle Brothers, wherein there's generally more like go out and collect the bear asses kind of situations, but you're still generally going and interacting with the world and trying to pass skill checks for different things, and you do have options for different campaigns at the start for what it's worth. Personally, since the human characters are going to be human characters. They had an option for going for lizards, and I thought, hey, that sounded neat. And in this case, there was an option to pick a class that kind of looked similar to matriarchs from Tactics Ogre, so I figured, what the hell, that sounds interesting. Now, I will admit, mechanically speaking, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand here, but so far, there's been a lot of things that have just sort of been turning me off it, not the least of which is random stuff like this. Which again is funny, but that wasn't a one-off thing. Literally, this character is one that is mandatory at the start of the game here, and she does this every single time. So I'm not entirely sure how that got missed. But yeah, there's a lot of like little weird janky bits and pieces going on here, which again normally I would not care that much about. It's just not particularly invested in this one so far. I do plan to dig into it a bit more as time goes on. But as of so far, have not really been having a ton of fun with it. So let's go ahead and kind of get into the systems here. So a lot of very similar to Battle Brothers type of stuff. Although the way that the battles have been handled so far, where you get on one end of the map and then wait for the other stuff to approach you, feels very similar to an old indie game that I actually had a lot of fun with a few years ago by the name of Ennokos Story, kind of like a ogre battle like. But it had a very kind of similar thing with like a lot of the battles just seemingly consisting of walking into a place, waiting for them to run up to you, and then just beating the hell out of them. The AI, which granted most of what I've been fighting so far has been random wildlife, the AI has not seemed terribly impressive, which is fine enough. it just does not feel like very much has been happening for the first few hours. But anyways, it does seem to have some meat on the bones, though, with different kind of save systems between your units. Like we saw a decent bit of parries right over there. Different weapons seemingly doing better against different things and what have you, and also seemingly a focus on trying to make just about everything viable. Like for example, having better dodge rates on naked units and stuff like that. That wasn't intentional. I just have never found any armor for my main character as of yet. So so far I have found almost no equipment. So there's that. Okay, they apparently did that. We apparently collected some stuff, and despite going and annihilating the local wildlife for a few hours here, I still have no idea why one of them dropped one of the pieces of leather that I needed, but none of the deer did. So I guess that's kind of another potential question. I don't know. I don't know if it's a random drop I'm looking for or what. At the very start here, your I guess family farmer or whatever else gets more or less blown to pieces by some guy you owe money to, and as a result, you're supposed to go fight the guy. In order to do so, you need to gather up some pieces of equipment as well as getting a few jobs done. And the first job was to find leather, which, again, I've only been 50% successful at so far. Now, based on the fact that there are completed campaigns, based on the kind of number of folks supporting this whole thing and whatnot, it seems like there certainly is more meat on the bone here somewhere. I just definitely haven't found it yet because clearly I'm still stuck in the intro here and still kind of learning the ropes here, so to speak. So, obviously, take all of that with a grain of salt. It probably does get better. I don't know necessarily if I'm sticking around for the full for the full experience of that getting better. It's just, I don't know how much of this is just the fact that it maybe wasn't originally meant to run on a Steam Deck. Like, even right now, I'm running it on a Steam Deck. It is my primary computer and all that. It just feels like a lot of things are randomly janking out. Stuff, like entire ecosystems will just up and disappear randomly. A lot of times the UI will just stop responding for no apparent reason. And it seems like most of the fights and whatnot have just been, again, random wildlife and whatnot. But yeah, so there's that. Now, the camp mechanic seemed interesting. So, like, whenever your people get tired, they stop and break for camp, and you have everybody go patch themselves up, do some training, do some cooking, all of that kind of thing. That's cool. It's cool to see that they have limitations based off of their condition. So, like, let's say your people are kind of damaged at any given time, they won't be very good at cooking, they would need to go rest instead. Or let's say they're, if their health is too low, they wouldn't be able to go and train or whatnot, I think it was. Let's see, training gloves, sure, why not? Apparently there is crafting. I don't know where it is as of yet. Let's see, let's go to the stash. How do craft? Is there a craft button somewhere? No, these are just different tabs for different things. Like I said, still fairly new at all this stuff, so I don't exactly know very much of what's going on, and it does bug me a little bit that more stuff doesn't show up on... that the stuff doesn't necessarily show up on your character as much. The weapons do, so that's nice. Let's see, broken bow, crafting material. Okay, but I still don't know how to craft. Is this a crafting? That is camp. Oh, I thought... Okay, I hit this button on accident then. I thought it was when you ran out, because last time this triggered exactly when I ran out, so let's see. Oh, there is a crafting. Okay, then let's do a crafting. Apparently it decided to answer... it decided to answer for me here, so let's see. Some of agility. We get some of these things, we get some of this thing, and wrong combination. Okay. Cool. Let's see. You do some cooking, increases their happiness. Okay, do that. You do some training, because I think they were the one that was hitting stuff the most, and do the camping. There we go. I think, come to think of it, this whole lighting system and whatever else, I swear it feels so much like Himeko's story did. It might even be the same engine, to be honest. I think that's probably why it feels so similar. But yeah, and what's funny is that overall production quality, I would say, probably feels a lot fancier than that one did. You're still traveling around the world, but in general, stuff's 3D, you're interacting with more stuff. I don't know, it just seemed like there was more going on in that one, I guess. I think also part of it is just that when it comes to the fights, I really appreciate the kind of utter brutality as well as the very stylish presentation that something like Battle Brothers does. Like, this is interesting. I do like the sort of different aesthetics of the units. Somehow we're going all half lizards, half people. Sure, all right. I mean, sounds like how politics are supposed to work, allegedly. Though, in general, between the traveling and the long loading screens, I kind of feel like I've spent more time staring at nothing than actually playing a game. So I think that's probably why it's not scratching the itch for me personally. But this might be something that somebody's looking for. It might be exactly the kinds of thing that you were looking for that day. And like I said, she does this every single time. I don't know how this how this happened. She's just a spaz. I do have this on a sort of Iron Man mode kind of thing right now, I think, which normally to me would be a sign of, hey, look, there was a lot of confidence in this thing in terms of being able to, be able to do an Iron Man kind of thing, but I just don't feel like much has been happening. Again, yeah, I'm probably judging it way too early, and that's a perfectly fair thing to criticize me for on that one. But personally, I just find it kind of janky to play as well. Like you saw right there, as soon as you're selecting a place to move, it's very temperamental, even with a mouse, as far as selecting where you want to point it, let alone trying to play it with an analog stick, where it just randomly decides, hey, you're facing the wrong direction now, so half the time you're spending additional points in order to go turn the right direction. Like it, most of these fights again just seem like this, so it hasn't exactly been scratching the strategy itch, as it were. Yeah, like right there, it just turns around the middle of it. Not that again, random wildlife is supposed to provide any gigantic challenge or what have you. I just feel like you start off with something like BB and you're immediately into the muck and stuff like that. You're immediately getting into fights and contracts and looking for your war dogs, and I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that this is a newer campaign and maybe I should have started with the other one. Maybe it's just the fact that this is more similar to something else that maybe I'm less familiar with. Honestly, I don't know. But so far it hasn't quite been for me, but maybe it'll be for you. I don't know. I actually forgot to check what the price of this one is, because normally I do want to do that ahead of time. Let's go see what that's looking like right now. Store page, what are you saying? Is this like a is this a demo? Is this a... How much does this thing cost? Because whatever it was that this thing improved on, it used to be a mixed review thing. As of lately, it's gotten a lot of very positives, which, I mean, I'll take their word for it. Apparently, there's more to it. I mean, it's like 20 bucks. Okay, fair enough. So, as far as is it like budget Battle Brothers? Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that working. Makes sense enough, I suppose. There are some things that also kind of just I kind of wish worked differently. Like, for example, I love being able to keep around offhand ranged weapons and stuff like that. I kind of wish that I could just offhand these throwing daggers. It sort of feels like something that should work, but you cannot offhand your thrown weapons and stuff like that. Um, yeah, just I'm sure at least part of this is definitely chalking down to the fact that I'm just playing badly. A lot of the early game skills so far, again, don't necessarily feel that. I just don't feel like they've been necessarily that fun to play around with. But again, that's probably just me being new to this whole thing. Like when I saw that this lady was doing all this fancy magical stuff, and it's like they can boost magical defense with this little orb thing they carry around, and they can refresh cooldowns. But the majority of what that can seemingly interact with is this lady's healing touch move, which, like, maybe that comes into play more later. I don't know. I don't know. Also, these ladies sound like dudes, but whatever. Not judging. Maybe that's just what they sound like. Again, I probably should have gone for the human campaign, because in this case it seems like they were the newest campaign to go in. I mean, I appreciate all the lizard aesthetics. Usually when it comes to stuff like this, I try to go for the weird oddball, kind of selections there. And it was interesting to see that of the sort of characters that you could start off with at the start, you can customize everything about your person. But one of them was like a healing crossbow medic, which was an interesting archetype to begin with. The others seemed like the sneaky guy and the heavy hitting guy, and then you had this lady that has cool magical rock. So I had to go for that. Let's see, whatever else. I kind of wish there were more loading screens. I feel like I've, again, stared at this screen more than I've actually played the game personally. But it's kind of whatever. Like, that's partially what I mean about that whole ecosystems appearing thing. Let's see, in the woods, there are some places that look weird or scary, but this one... Weird or scary? That's an extra R over there. But this one is like no others. Wouldn't it just be like no other? Anyway, maybe there was a translation thing at some point that I'm just missing. There's a glade that is full of mushrooms of abnormal sizes. You decide you can come closer and investigate it. The closer you come, the more weird the stench is. Are you willing to send someone? I mean, what are our skill checks? 100%? Sure, go do it. I mean, we got that one lady that already looks like she's permanently on mushrooms anyway. Walks right through the mushroom field, comes back with a new attitude. Okay, so they did just get high off the mushrooms. Cool. Apparently that expanded their mind. Good to know. Good to know. Let's see. More findings boxes. Like, we're doing exploring. I just don't know if we're exploring in the right direction. I don't know. It's not that there needed to be more direction. I appreciate weird exploration and whatever else. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's that much happening so far. Let's see, weekly pay. See, week my services passed, now come to collect my money. Offered you 6 days and took part in 8 battles. Dude, pay extra. We're surprisingly loaded. Everyone gets extra pay. Oh yeah, I guess she's not plot mandatory. I thought she was this lady's sister or something. Maybe that one got left behind and I hired 2 of them. I honestly have no idea. Let's see. Flea market. What can we buy? Because we keep finding gigantic loads of money everywhere. We need to buy 3 pieces of fine equipment. So, let's see, 3 fine weapons. What are these consisting of? What's the cheapest fine thing you can have? Fine torch? That is a very expensive fine torch. Okay, man. Alright, I guess we're gonna have to pay out the ears for this. Fine shield. Reduces damage by 45%. I mean, that's probably worth doing. Fine round shield. Okay, that's seemingly a good value. There, you go ahead and throw that... How do I... Okay, apparently right-click is how you get that thing on the table. So this bag of crossbow bolts, 738. Where's the crossbow, then? Okay, musket for way more than we can possibly afford. But there's a hammer, we can afford that. What of this stuff can we sell? We get some fish. No, that just counts as a source of food. What's this? Band-aids. Throwing daggers, which apparently nobody except for that one character will agree to use. Beer. Bones. I mean, this is all seemingly crafting materials. What's this? Coronal shield, once carried by this one. Personal bodyguard of blah blah blah. Reduces damage by 50%. Okay. Apparently that thing is very expensive. Let's see. 50% has durability of 130. This thing is definitely not nearly as good, but also... I mean, we'll just keep it as is. Let's see. Throwing axes. I completely didn't even notice that we had those throwing axes. Whatever, we'll try those out right now and see what they all end up looking like. Why not? Alright, so let's see if stuff starts improving here. So, let's see, equipment-wise, are you even allowed to offhand this thing? Because you couldn't offhand the other one. Also, where's this shield? This looks fancy. Are you allowed to use this? There's like an entire... Just got this mounted deer head on. Alright, well, technically that's a shield, sure. Let's see, this hammer is worse than this random club I picked up. Good to know that it's fine. Okay, what about you? Does this improve your weapon situation? I mean, better strength multiplier, I guess. What about you? Does this help you? Nope, everything's just completely worse about this hammer. Okay, for being allegedly fine, it is apparently a complete POS. Anyways, you refuse to use a shield. What about you? Do you use a shield? Is this a thing you can do? No. Alright, is this two-handed or something? Requires 8 strength. Maybe there's some kind of strength modifier thing going on. I don't know. What about this hammer? Okay, now you can equip that. You can only discard it. Requires 10 defense. That's why. Okay, so where is your... That's kind of the other thing. I would like to be able to see equipment in the stat screen and stats in the equipment screen. Maybe they are here somewhere and I'm just missing it. Let's see. Is this existing defense? Is that what it is? Maybe. Maybe you need that perk to actually pick it up. Let's see, because I did pick up a perk for this right here with her, where she just gets better at shielding. So boosts shielding defense in combat by 5, but we already used that. Also, I just keep stacking defense on her, because one of these random indies, I ended up going and stacking defense to the point that they were just totally untouchable, which was fun. Ooh, adds fear? Sure. Also, sometimes you double click it and it works, sometimes it just refuses to. Couldn't tell you what that was all about. Let's see. We got shielding or we got throwing weapons. Sure, learn throwing weapons. Learn agility, I suppose, as well as strength, as well as defense, so that you can equip new stuff. There we go. And you can also probably learn more defense, so you can learn those shields or whatnot, and hopefully that's all you need. I was expecting a lock-in button of some variety here, but apparently once you click it, you're just kind of done. So, that's fine. Alright, where's this one? Alright, you are the one that managed to learn how to shields. There we go, go to shields. Now we can use that one just fine. Will this improve your situation? Yes. Apparently your average damage goes up, even though it also kind of doesn't. Sure. I'll take their word for it. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff here that I'm just completely, again, missing just due to generally being fairly new at this whole particular one. Also, did these two always look the same, or is this... I don't know if that's new or not. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. But alright, so we've gotten 2 out of 3 pieces of equipment. Maybe we can afford to buy one more. Let's see what we got here. Go to the flea market. Apparently the music disappeared. Need a fine thing. Where's a fine thing? So we got that. Fine for armor, sure. We'll buy that. And accept, and... okay, apparently we want payback now. Sure. And now we're going to go do a plot thing. Alright, so I just want to see if we actually needed to do all this extra preparation or extra grind work, or if this is... like, how much of this is necessary? I have no idea. Also, wait a minute, I was about to put some armor on you. Right. Here, let's go ahead and... you apparently can't. What about you? Can you equip this? Sure. Can you equip the basic version? No. Alright, main character is just a nudist. It's fine. Whatever. Whatever they need, we don't have it. But, like, this is what I mean. Maybe it's more familiar for folks from some other background as far as games go. I just know personally, this isn't necessarily tying that much together with a lot of the stuff that I'm a bit more useful, or a bit more used to. So, it is what it is. It does seem like there's been, been a decent bit of effort put in to go down the whole tabletop role-playing side of things, which is good. It does seem like there's more here than I'm necessarily giving it credit for, and I will try to kind of bite into this one a bit more as time permits, but they keep... and we fly now. They have sent me a few emails now to finally get on with it, so yeah, that's kind of my first impressions so far. I'll, again, try to kind of follow up on this one when it's possible to do so. And, yeah, so let's go ahead and just do the story fight, see if it's something a bit more interesting. Maybe there's, maybe there's more meat on these bones. Maybe there's more to see here. Here, I can't zoom out anymore, so just try to go that way, I guess. If not, we'll go attack those boars, and maybe that gives one of those pieces of leather that we were looking for. So you notice there are thugs on high alert. Okay. And... okay, there's that one guy. So you notice an armed person with a bow and a bush right next to you, a person who clearly doesn't belong here. A Valenry human. Okay, so Mr... we're just going to call him Iroquois Pliskin. Hokan, apparently. Do you have business with these people? Mass murder in vengeance. Okay. Well, then we just obviously tell this guy to help, and sure, why not? Let's see if something interesting happens. Apparently this... okay, maybe it's not the same guy. He looks like that guy with the robot arm, but maybe he's not. Maybe just kind of looks vaguely similar. I have a feeling, like, immediately upon selecting it and then looking at the equipment choices here, I was kind of feeling I went for the wrong campaign from the get-go. Because I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. They got, like, guns and spears and robot arms, and we got magical lizard lady that can't magic. Maybe I picked the wrong side, and we got glitchy lizard over here. I'm not even sure that's related to their equipment. It's just something wrong with that one in particular. Alright. Do we get to control this guy, or is this just nothing? Alright, man, that facing thing is really getting on my dang nerves. Alright. You go there, you go here. Gonna sneakify this way. I don't think there's actually gonna be that much sneaking, but we'll see. So you get to end your turn there. I kind of feel like... you know, honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know what would happen as far as making this UI a little bit more clear. It's just like it's. I'm hoping it's just inexperience so far with this particular system. It just feels difficult to read for me personally. But again, you know, grain of salt and all that. Okay, so yeah, they don't seem to have any kind of alert phase or what have you. They're just approaching and doing as you do. They kind of look like velociraptors. Okay, nifty. So their shield took the hit there. You go this way. What's this thing do? Whispers applies fear with a mind chuck. Sure. There we go. We did a magical thingy. That's good to know. And then you can just sort of do the touchy. Don't do the touchy. Okay, that only is a heal that applies to other people. I guess all the lizards are kind of sort of capable of healing or something. Possibly. I don't know. But hopefully they will be good right over there. Alright. You go this way, get a first attack off. I don't really like to leave them all exposed and immediately attacking here. But it does seem like we're doing okay as far as overpowering them just fine, so we'll do that. Now we find out if arrows are able to fire or fire over people. Yes, okay, so they do seem to ignore terrain, at least to some degree. And okay. Let's go ahead and end the turn there. There then, rather. Alright. So yeah, we got a bonus attack system that sort of feels like a less reliable sort of Battle Brothers kind of thing that's not really happening every time. Though we do see regular attacks hitting way more often, so there is that too. So a bit more on the sort of standard RPG side of things, I guess. Alright, take a shot there. They get a one-shot. That seems... Why did we lose anyone to these people again? Seems like a bit of a nothing burger so far. Alright. You go here. Try to hammer this lizard, and that should be the end of that, I would assume. Where's the last one at? Yeah, you're just all slow because of that shield now, I guess. Oh, this turning thing. This turning thing gets on my nerves. And I know, it's a little adjustment that would probably fix that problem. But yeah, also, a lot of things seem to drop green puddles on the ground. I don't know if it's from those attacks or if they're meant to, like, bleed green blood or something. I guess they're all just, like, a race of predators or something. Neat. So is he just, like, a permanent party member now, or is he just temporary, or what? And back to the loading screen. I keep wondering about that little roly guy on the bottom right, because it sort of seems like whenever you're hearing about kind of ancient symbology, and they're like, hey, check it out, this one's one set of private parts, this one's the other set of private parts, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what that is, because one's hanging down, and one's doing the whole, like, here's a, place thing. Who knows? Also, apparently this game has PvP. I have not gotten to any place that has PvP, yeah, if the general levels of units are fairly low, which it kind of seems like they would be, they don't necessarily scale up that high, then yeah, that's kind of neat. That's a neat concept. I know I personally, I just don't feel terribly engaged in this whole thing. But, alright. Let's see. Offer him to join. Take down more of these scums. There has to be some translation thing, surely. Okay, so we pay weakly. As you examine the campsite, you notice a cage further in the back where a huge scar watches you with interest. He seems exhausted and wounded. Yeah, I guess he is the other guy from that party screen. It's finally arrived. Take long enough. Let me out of the... Okay. Let's see. Name is Terrace. Son of that guy. Let's see. Okay, apparently some kind of royalty or something. And yeah, Zildora is plot mandatory. We can pay our refuse to pay our plot mandatory characters, apparently. Um, okay. Or maybe that's just the characters, or just your kind of randoms throwing in their lines here and there. I mean, again, for somebody that's a bit more invested in the setting, maybe there's more going on here. Um, but yeah, that's kind of about that. If this is the kind of thing that you're looking for, if this looks like the kind of thing you're interested in, be aware that it's out there, and maybe go have some fun with that. For me personally, I'll take another peek at it later, but it's not really doing it for me personally. But yeah, I'm sure it seems to be, at least for a few dozen people. So there's that. Looking at the Steam reviews here. Let's see. Let's take another look at them Steam reviews here, shall we? So let's see. Recent reviews. Let's take a peek what people are saying about this thing. What are these very positives about? Let's see, not going to sugarcoat it. I really thought these developers had abandoned the project and ripped off everyone who bought the early access, and the game showed so much promise back then. It kind of stung, because so many people try to use what works but make new styles in SRPGs. Felt burned out by Crimson Tactics. Yeah, feel you there. But this one really pissed me off because after talking with the devs in the forums, I thought this was a passion project. Thankfully, I was right. Though it took a while, it seems they regrouped and did the project again and finally finished on this long-awaited SRPG. I mean, I'm glad they finished it. It's good that they came back and finished it. I will say that much. It definitely is not Crimson Tactics. That is for dang sure. Like, it didn't just abruptly, seemingly... Well, from what I hear, anyway, it didn't just abruptly sort of end right as the story was starting, and then half the cutscenes caused the game to crash. So there is that. That is a low bar to clear, but it certainly cleared it. And as far as it being a passion project, I will say you can tell there are ideas here. You can definitely tell that there's stuff that people are interested in. There's interesting kind of setting type of stuff going on. Like, genuinely speaking, I see why they put these guys on the front, because, yeah, I do want to see when the gigantic, rock kaiju ends up playing a part in the story. I want to see what that's all about. If it didn't have those, I'd have a lot less interest in the setting there. But yeah, so... Okay, and apparently we're just going off and, on a tear through all these random villages. Now, is there going to be, like, a mandatory supposed to lose event at some point? Because I doubt it's just going to be a bunch of easy fights back-to-back, surely. Who knows? Who knows? This feels like one of these sort of blood feud situations that goes out of control. I guess one more little note that I want to bring up here is when it comes to the map selection, a lot of these maps are reused. This is the first time I'm seeing this particular one. Hi again, Twitchy Zildora. But yeah, it does feel like a lot of the maps are reused, which does feel a little weird when you encounter some deer that you're hunting in the middle of the woods, and they're like, "Hey, look, we're in a farm now." So as far as being immersive and whatnot, there's some asterisks there, but again, there's ideas at least. So it sounds like they're still doing updates. They're still making stuff happen. Like, this is, like I said earlier, this isn't exactly something that's blowing my mind personally. It's got a little bit of that early access stank on it still, but it seems like there's at least hearts in the right place for what it's worth. So, given some time and polish, I'm sure it'll look a decent bit nicer. And yeah, that'll basically be about that. So I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of wrap it up there. So y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by. I know this was a little bit more. I don't know. This was a bit more of an iffy one than usual. Usually, I only show up to do one of these when it's super positive about something. But yeah, just not really necessarily feeling it with this one. So y'all take care, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.